Hey guys, welcome to Film Learnin, the show dedicated to learning you some filmmaking and learning you good. Well, the hat is on, the tuck shirt is back out people. Welcome to the 100th episode of Film Learnin. That's right gang, I've made 100 of these and it's time to give the floor to you as I answer some of your most burning questions. But before we do, let's just acknowledge that sub count down there. It's over 20,000 and counting. That is majorly awesome, people. Ooh, and while I think of it, a big shout out to Mike Frudenberg over at Film Masters for the awesome Deadpool title sequence that you just saw before. Good job, Mike. You can check out his tutorial on that down in the description. Yeah, that'll do. Now, onto those questions.
Do you have another job too? And how do you figure all those effects out? They are amazing!
Yes, I do have an actual job that pays money and everything. I work in e-learning for a public hospital, producing all the multimedia content and administering the system. YouTube pays next to nothing, even when you have over 150,000 views per month. Honestly, I make more in a day doing a paid gig than I make in a whole year doing Film Learnin. I do the show because I enjoy creating cool effects, teaching and interacting with you guys, and also, it helps me to learn new things too. I don't think there'll ever be a day where I do this full time, because at the moment, I don't really have a reason to. I make good money at my job and I still manage to squeeze out an episode each week. Now as far as figuring out how to make all these effects work, basically I just watch the footage over and over and over again and then just try to kind of reverse engineer the whole thing. So if it has some lightning elements, I'll figure out how to do the lightning. If it has some smoke elements, I'll figure out how to do that. And I'll just take it piece by piece until I've got an effect that looks pretty damn similar or the same.
What is your favourite part of yourself as a person?
I would have to say my memory. I have ridiculously good recall, which can be both a gift and a curse. It's great when I need to remember something from previous jobs or episodes or way back in the past, but it does lead me with so much useless trivia at the same time. For example, did you know Tom Hanks once guest starred on Family Ties as an alcoholic who hits Michael J. Fox in a drunken stupor? Well, I do.
Grant, what camera do you use?
Now I've answered this a bunch of times, but I don't mind. It's a Panasonic GH4. I actually made an episode about it right here. It's a great camera and it served me well.
Hey Film Learnin, how do you make your puppet talk and how do you film him by yourself?
I generally just stick my hand up his butt and work him just like this. How you doing? Fine. Filming him myself isn't particularly hard. I just set up the shot, get myself and him into position, and then I wirelessly rack focus using my iPad and hit the record button the same way using the Panasonic Image app. I actually made an episode about that too, right here.
How did you get so good at making effects? Is it your job or what?
I got good at effects by watching tutorials, really. I started with the Video Copilot ones way back in the day, and then continued to watch them when YouTube started up. You can get to a certain point when you can just look at something and know what tools to use to make the effect work. It just takes patience and a lot of practice. The most I use effects in my current job is mostly green screen keying when I shoot clients out here in the studio. Other than that, I don't use them at all.
What's the first thing you're gonna do if you wake up and find that you're Deadpool?
Well, the first thing I would do is scream my head off because I now resemble an old man's ballsack. No amount of super healing can make up for that face, bro.
Where did you learn filmmaking and stuff? Are you self-taught?
I guess you could say I started in high school, but that was VHS tapes and linear editing systems, and it was extremely clunky. And my stuff back then, not so good. But it did give me the bug, and years later when I came back home after some unfortunate events, I took it up again and began teaching myself through watching tutorials and just general practice.
Who taught you After Effects? And can you please do a tutorial on my request?
Nobody really taught me After Effects, but I have to say my main inspiration to dig into it and really play around would be Mr. Andrew Kramer of Video Copilot. His tutorials were a huge help in the beginning, and the fact that he's now working on Star Wars is kind of a great validation that I found a good teacher. I'm sure I'll get to your request as well. Just remember, if the request list was an ass, it would be the fattest ass you've ever seen. And that's my way of saying, it's a big list.
How long have you been using After Effects? Big fan, keep 'em up.
I've been using After Effects on and off for roughly 14 years. I say off and on because I was lazy and I'd often go long stretches of time without ever touching it. I would say I've been professionally using it for less than 6 years.
Sick! What did you think of the new Deadpool movie?
Without a doubt, it was the most fun I've had at the movies this year. So funny, so fast-paced. The best thing I can say about it is it knew exactly what it wanted to be and it never shied away from it. My wife actually enjoyed it more than I did. She wanted to go right back in and watch it again, and she never wants to see a movie more than once. We actually saw it again last night.
Do you thank The Flash for your channel growing? I guess you could say your channel grew faster than the Flash.
I get on my knees and kiss my Flash Blu-ray set on the daily. Well, I would if I had actually bought it. Without such an awesome effects-laden show, Film Learnin would still be on life support, only getting a couple of hundred views per episode. I'm just so grateful to have a tutorial show in a time where there are so many cool comic book shows that are hitting our TVs. It's an awesome time to be in the effects biz. That was Jasper from Simpsons.
How do I get noticed on YouTube when my view count per video is only like 5 to 10 views per video? Does it improve with consistency and work?
How to get noticed on YouTube is kind of a tricky thing to answer. I'd put up over 50 episodes of Film Learnin before my Reverse Flash episode blew up, and I don't even think it's my best episode. Nor do I know why that video was the one that started it all. I think the key thing is to focus on not so much the view count or even the sub count. At the end of the day, you have to be proud of the content that you're putting out there and know it's 100% of what you want to put out there. I know it's disheartening to spend a long time on a video and only for it to remain on just a few views, and trust me, I've been there. My first short that I put up on YouTube took me 7 months to make and it barely got 100 views in a year. But you just have to persevere. YouTube isn't the same place it was 5 years ago, where, anyone could get noticed. It takes a lot of effort to get a foot in, and even when you do, you still have to grind away. I mean, look at me. I've released one video every week for well over 2 years. Not easy, but if you are dedicated, you can do it.
Are you planning on being a Hollywood director or... I'm not sure what the or means, really.
I don't have any solid plans to become a Hollywood director. I mean, would I like to someday? Sure, that'd be awesome. But in reality, I'm a long way from Hollywood. At the moment, my focus is on my next short film, which will be for the My Road Reel short film competition, which launches soon, and with any luck, I'll bag me a prize.
Why is the channel name Lone Archer Films?
I've already answered this question in my previous Q&A session, so I might just roll that clip rather than explain it again. Basically, I was 16 when I came up with this name. I was sitting in my bedroom and I was drawing a poster for my first feature film, an adaptation of one of my favourite video games, Shadow Warriors, also known as Ninja Gaiden. At the time, my dad had a consultancy business called Lone Wolf Consultants, so I pinched his loan, and I was obsessed with the John Woo movie Face Off for obvious reasons, it kicks ass, and John Travolta's character's name is Sean Archer. So there's the Lone and the Archer, and then I added the films on the end, and that's where Lone Archer Films came from. A lazy 16-year-old stealing half his dad's company name and pairing it with a movie character. Oh, and by the way, I never made the movie. I hadn't even written a script. I just drew the poster.
When did you know you wanted to be a filmmaker?
I knew when I was around 14 that I wanted to make movies, primarily after I saw the movie The Crow. I was blown away by the imagery on screen, and I thought, I want to do that. I wrote a tiny script and even built some fake graves in the backyard of our property, and I started practicing my stick fighting skills because, quite frankly, I had no idea how to make movies. And I was an idiot. Eventually, about 4 years later, I started to learn how to make movies.
Why doesn't your wife appear in your episodes?
Easy answer. My wife really doesn't enjoy the filmmaking process. While she does enjoy watching movies and TV shows with yours truly, we've tried to work together on some projects in the past, and my style of many takes gets boring to her really easy. With Film Learnin, I do tend to film these things on the fly and often very early in the morning by myself before I go to work. And to be quite frank, sometimes it's a bit easier that way.
Show us or tell us about all your Blu-ray movies.
There's not much to tell really. I have a pretty pathetic collection of about 20 Blu-ray movies. Some even came with the Blu-ray player. In fact, I haven't added to said collection for a couple of years now. I think the last Blu-ray I bought was probably The Dark Knight Rises. I just don't buy as many movies now you can stream them.
What got you into all this amazing work?
Well, if anyone's been a long-time subscriber, I was just plodding along doing my Mo Diddley videos, and Film Learnin was just an idea that I had after watching one too many bad tutorials on YouTube. I have an online learning background and I consider myself pretty decent at After Effects, but the biggest trigger into getting into these effects we're doing right now is you guys. Your requests drive the show, so I take my hat off to you, the 95% of guys and the 5% of girls out there that watch my channel. That's right, it's a sausage fest.
Have you ever seen the old Japanese films of Godzilla? If so, what is your favourite one? And did you ever think you'd get to 18K?
I have seen some of the old Godzilla films way back when I was a kid, but I couldn't tell you a specific favourite one off the top of my head. Now, I always had faith my show was good, but did I ever think I'd amass this amount of subscribers? Not at first. It was so damn hard to get to 1,000, but once I hit 5,000 and then 10,000, you start to feel like momentum's on your side finally, Go Momentum
Do You Love Me
was the song that played in the last act of the Jason Bateman starring Teen Wolf 2. See? Useless recall. Okay, so that's the end of the questions, gang. I hope you enjoyed this bit of insight into the egg-headed mind of this man. We will be back next week with a new tutorial, so keep an eye out for that. I've had to postpone the behind the scenes video for now, as it's been a nightmare trying to get just this video done this week, and getting used to the newfound responsibility of having a newborn baby. Seriously, if you don't have kids, you have no idea how much work goes into it. And I'll tell you, it's a lot. But that's my time, gang. If you enjoyed this non-effects episode, please like and share it. If you're new here, go check out the other 99 episodes of effects-laden goodness, and subscribe while you're at it. It's right there. It almost seems foolhardy not to. I also have the Facebook and the Twitter if you want to keep up to date. I do post a fair bit of crap on there that you won't see on YouTube. And until next week, and for the 100th time, keep learning!